You know, I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
In a high school all-star team, I worked all day, put up hay all day, went up there and had a...
According to reports, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Caitlin Clark have become part of a shocking and completely unexpected story that has left the WNBA stunned. The news has sent waves through the basketball world, with fans reacting in complete disbelief. Even though many details are still unknown, people are already calling it one of the biggest surprises in sports history. Social media is filled with speculation about what this could mean for the WNBA and where the game is headed next. One thing is certain, this revelation has changed everything. Whenever the greatest of all time speaks, the entire basketball world pays attention. This time, Michael Jordan wasn't reflecting on his own legendary career. Instead, he turned the spotlight toward rising basketball star Caitlin Clark, whose remarkable shooting has been changing the game. In a moment that caught everyone off guard and deeply moved Clark, MJ delivered a heartfelt tribute that reached far beyond the court. So, what did he say that brought the crowd to its feet? Stay with us, because this is a moment you won't want to miss. The story of Caitlin Clark and Michael Jordan is unlike anything people expected. Michael Jordan rarely steps into the public spotlight, especially when the conversation involves athletes outside the NBA. That has always been by design. Because of that, when he gives rare attention to a WNBA rookie, people immediately take notice. Throughout the years, Jordan has largely observed the women's game from a distance while focusing on building his legacy through branding, ownership, and worldwide influence in men's basketball. And when he does share an opinion, it isn't always complimentary, particularly when discussing a young player like Caitlin Clark. But the definition of greatness is changing. Caitlin Clark is doing far more than putting up impressive numbers. She is reshaping the way people view the WNBA. Since her arrival, television ratings have climbed to historic levels and attendance records have continued to fall. Playing for the Indiana Fever, she has transformed ordinary regular season games into sold-out events that regularly draw audiences of more than 1 million viewers. Her impact goes well beyond statistics. It can be seen in the lasting influence her games have wherever they are broadcast. Young girls are picking up basketballs not just because they want to play, but because they believe they can truly be seen and heard. Basketball camps are packed, and youth programs continue to grow. That kind of influence mirrors what Michael Jordan accomplished on the men's side. During the 1990s, he didn't simply win championships. He changed the way the world viewed what a basketball player could become. Today, the Jordan brand is quietly expanding that legacy by working with WNBA athletes. The business side of his empire is beginning to recognize both the cultural importance and financial value of elite women's basketball. The question is no longer whether the women's game has commercial potential. The real question is how quickly that value is growing, with Clark at the center of that rise. That is why Jordan's public recognition of someone like Caitlin Clark carries real meaning. His rare but influential comments are more than compliments. They are powerful statements that capture the attention of fans, companies, and the entire basketball world. Very few legacies carry the kind of influence that his does. When Michael Jordan draws attention to someone, it becomes much harder for the sports world to overlook that person. What happens next goes beyond mentorship or a simple endorsement. Social media has made that influence even more powerful. Today, sports icons are no longer limited to television appearances or award shows. Through platforms like Instagram and TikTok, athletes can interact instantly, publicly support one another, and share stories that reach across leagues and genders. That is why Jordan's recognition of Caitlin Clark quickly became a viral moment instead of a quiet show of respect. Brand partnerships have also evolved. Campaigns featuring both male and female athletes are about much more than publicity. They highlight a shared vision of basketball excellence that connects different generations and audiences. As more companies embrace that approach, legendary stars and rising talents are increasingly being featured together in the spotlight. In moments like these, where the past meets the future, someone like Jordan can quietly validate the impact of a player like Clark. But if Jordan's praise alone was remarkable, why did Shaquille O'Neal and Larry Bird also step forward with unexpected admiration? That's where the story becomes even more interesting. Larry Bird, a man who rarely seeks attention or makes dramatic public statements, said something about Caitlin Clark that carried far more weight than many people first realized. Speaking in his usual calm and reserved manner, Bird explained that throughout the previous season, he had followed Iowa with the same passion he once had for his own alma mater, Indiana State, where his legendary basketball journey began. It wasn't a flashy comment, and that was exactly what made it meaningful. Players like Bird never waste words. When someone of his stature places Caitlin Clark alongside the games that shaped his own basketball memories, people naturally pay attention. Even more important is the style of basketball Bird has always admired. He has never been someone who follows trends. Instead, he values effort, vision, smart decision-making, and playing the game the right way. Clark's style reflects those same qualities. Her quick instincts, deep shooting range, and control of the game's pace reminded many of the traits Bird himself was known for. His remarks were much more than a compliment. They showed genuine respect for the way she plays basketball. That quiet endorsement meant a great deal to those who understand how uncommon it is for legendary players to publicly praise the women's game. Soon afterward, Shaquille O'Neal added his own unexpected voice to the growing list of basketball greats recognizing Clark. Shaq has always been outspoken, energetic, and passionate. At first, much of his public support in the WNBA focused on Angel Reese, a player he consistently backed throughout the early stages of her professional career. But as Clark continued to perform with confidence, composure, and the ability to control games, his perspective gradually evolved. It became clear there was more to her success than hype or media attention. When Shaq finally spoke about Caitlin Clark, there was a clear change in his tone because he was talking about something he had seen with his own eyes. "I'm not speaking as Shaq. I'm speaking as a fan," he said, setting aside his larger-than-life personality for a sincere and honest opinion. He made it clear that he wasn't simply complimenting her. He explained how she creates opportunities, opens up the floor, and makes every teammate around her better. He also pointed out that she wasn't just exciting to watch. She consistently made smart basketball decisions. Shaq has spent his life around legendary players. He understands the difference between temporary excitement and lasting greatness, and he believed Clark belonged in the second group. That made his praise even more meaningful because it came naturally, without hesitation or exaggeration. He admitted that television doesn't always capture how special a player truly is, but insisted that Clark is even more impressive when seen in person. Her movement, leadership, shot selection, and control of the game stood out to him immediately. Shaq wasn't interested in delivering catchy headlines. He was genuinely impressed by her maturity, basketball IQ, technique, and command of the court. He also stressed that her composure is something rarely seen. Recognition from legends like Bird and Shaq means far more than simple praise. Coming from players who helped define the sport, it reflects a genuine shift in perspective. Their respect isn't based on emotion. It comes from years of understanding exactly what separates great players from truly elite ones. Yet, even with legendary voices praising her, one question still remained. Why was Caitlin Clark left off Team USA's Olympic roster? Was there more to the story? Let's take a closer look. Sometimes criticism becomes the beginning of a comeback, and Caitlin Clark's quiet response may be the perfect example. When your name is missing from an important list, the silence that follows can feel heavier than any crowd. Clark had already dealt with enormous pressure, but being left off the U.S. Olympic team carried a different kind of weight. It wasn't simply about missing a tournament. To many fans and critics, it sent a powerful message. For countless people, the decision was difficult to understand. A player who had boosted television ratings, packed arenas, and renewed excitement around women's basketball was suddenly left off the biggest international stage. It didn't sit well with everyone. Still, not everyone viewed it as a disaster. Having experienced both success and disappointment during his NBA career, Dwight Howard believed the setback could become a valuable opportunity. He saw it as motivation rather than an insult. When Howard said, "This should make her go harder in the gym," he wasn't dismissing her disappointment. Instead, he was looking ahead. He had seen similar situations before, where overlooked athletes eventually made everyone regret doubting them. He believed Clark had that kind of potential. Without the demands of an Olympic schedule or the pressure of every possession being examined on the world's biggest stage, she gained valuable time to reset. While others traveled to Paris, Clark remained focused on improving her game. As the spotlight shifted elsewhere, she stayed in the gym, continuing to work without complaint or distraction. She never showed signs of giving up. She focused on taking care of herself. Much of that work happened quietly, away from the spotlight, even though fans never saw every extra workout or every late-night practice session. Meanwhile, former NBA player Jeff Teague didn't stay silent. He believed the WNBA had missed a major opportunity. In his view, the situation had been handled the wrong way. Shaking his head, Teague made it clear how disappointed he was. He wasn't someone known for chasing headlines, which made his comments even more meaningful. He felt the league had not only failed to make the most of Caitlin Clark's popularity, but had also pushed away a large portion of the fan base that followed her. Arenas were selling out, merchandise was flying off the shelves, and social media engagement continued to grow. Even so, Clark's introduction to the league was anything but welcoming. And Teague wasn't alone in that opinion. Hall of Famer Rick Barry voiced even stronger concerns. He believed Caitlin had been subjected to excessive and personal physical play, calling the continued targeting unacceptable. In his experience, rookies were rarely treated this way. Barry, who competed during an era known for its physical style of basketball, said what troubled him wasn't just the contact itself. It was the message that seemed to come from the top. During those early months, every game Clark played carried extra significance. If a league doesn't protect its biggest stars, what message does that send? Every hard foul seemed to become another test. Yet Clark never lost her focus or allowed the situation to overwhelm her. There were no emotional outbursts or angry interviews. She handled every challenge with professionalism, confidence, and composure. Slowly but surely, the atmosphere around her began to change. Compared with many of her teammates, she remained more reserved.